About a huge question that a lot of folks are asking online, asking in different chat rooms, different organic conversations that are happening out there in the world of should I move out of my hometown, right? Like, should I move out of my hometown? And I felt like as somebody who has had the experience of moving out of their hometown, moving out of their home state, having to move back to their home state for a period of time and then move again, I might could talk about the topic a little bit. Statistic that I just saw online, a new survey as of 2021 said that 1 in 6 Americans have never left their home state. And while more than half of the respondents actually believe that traveling at a young age is what would have encouraged them to continue to explore the world as an adult. And man, I just want to dissect that a little bit, right? Like, imagine you're walking down the side of the street, whatever the case may be, and you count 6 people, right? One of those 6 people has never gone outside their home state, their hometown, whatever the case may be. That could be, where they grew up, where they went to elementary, middle school, high school, whatever the case may be. They are still living in the area that they grew up. And first and foremost, I want to put this disclaimer out there. I believe there is something great to say about people who feel as though their calling or their purpose in life is to pour back into the community from which they came. I think that's commendable. I think that's honorable even of that sense as well. So this video is not to knock those folks per se, but to share a perspective from somebody who's left their community, which I'll talk about a little bit for certain reasons, went back and continuing to support those in the community I came from. So I'm originally from North Carolina, right? Grew up in North Carolina, a small town called Clinton, North Carolina to be exact. And I remember growing up, being in high school, whatever the case may be, and having conversations with folks who were a little bit older and talking about the difficulty related to jobs and, opportunities that were available for folks when they were first coming out of high school. These were guys that I played football, basketball with, whatever the case may be, and just how the conversation seemed like, so much smaller, if you will, than the world at large. It was as though they felt that anything that was outside the county that we grew up in, which ironically enough is from where I'm from, is the biggest county in the state, there was just nothing out there for them. And I always can say that, like, for me and my family, we have family all over, and my parents always instilled in me, really go after achievement, really go after the things you want in life. And that a popular scripture that you guys might have heard from the Bible is, a man's gift will make room for him and bringeth him before great men. And in my mind, like, greatness is not limited to an area. Like, I can go abroad, I can do certain things. Someday, some way, somehow, there was more for me outside of where I grew up at, what I was so much familiar with, if you will. So lo and behold, I go off to school in a larger community, because I grew up in a very rural, agricultural type area, community, small town, and went to a city, a predominantly black city at that. Went to college there for 5 years, went to the next largest city, which was Charlotte, North Carolina, which was a metropolis, if you will. It's been referred to as the New York of the South, where I got a sense of being in a larger city, if you will, than I grew up in, but I was still in my home state and relatively still hanging out with some of the same folks that I might have went to college with. I went to a HBCU, one of the largest HBCUs in the United States. And just that continued feeling of, like, I know this. Like, I know the people, I know the venues that we're going to when you go out. It's kind of like you just stay into this bubble, if you will, of safety, right? Like, you like, at the end of the day, you might have family members that are 15 minutes away, 30 minutes away, 2 hours away, whatever the case may be. So you're still in this, like, safety zone of life, if you will. It wasn't until I got an opportunity to be able to move to Dallas, Texas, to marry my wife, that it really changed. I'll never forget getting in the car late that night. I was getting ready to move. I was driving from Charlotte, North Carolina to Texas. and I couldn't sleep the night before. I went to sleep for probably like 2 hours, woke up around 12, hit the highway. And I remember very significantly having a conversation with my sister and saying like, hey, you know, this opportunity's opened up for me in a different state, and I don't know what it is, but what I want is no longer here. Like, I've had these experiences in this place, in this state, you know, this is where I grew up at, but something in me is calling me to a new territory, to a new space. And I'm not gonna get preachy on you guys, but I took the leap of faith, you know, got an opportunity, a job that opened up and left. Now, there was different events that kind of led up to this, but one of those was the opportunity, right? And sometimes for those larger opportunities that might shift your life in a totally different trajectory or a totally different direction, it may require you not only mentally having a mindset shift, but also physically shifting yourself into a space and a place that has, you know, more, I mean, just to be honest, like more going for it. For me, at this particular time, I remember like fresh out of college, was working a job for a while before experiencing a layoff when I was there, and with others, and like applying for jobs. Like I remember applying for over 1,000 some jobs, and this is when like LinkedIn had first came out with the easy apply. So like I was just lighting that thing up, trying to get opportunities, trying to speak with folks, but just not getting anything to happen, right? Like not having anything kind of happen in my favor. Had some interviews with some different sales roles, and it was like, gosh, it was just so difficult. And lo and behold, it ended up starting with a job, getting on with a call center role, and that post went viral, right? So get on with a call center. Here I am with a marketing degree, fresh out of school, you know, just trying to get an opportunity. And that post went viral. To this day, I think that post still has like 3.1, 3.2 something million views on this post for me getting a job opportunity, starting that job and role, and still not letting it, like all this visibility, right? And I always tell people all the time, like views and traction, like it's not synonymous sometimes with an ROI. Like more visibility doesn't always mean that something's gonna happen exactly for you at that time. I believe things that happen within their season, right? So, and definitely this was not the season for that. I needed a couple more steps in my development. But lo and behold, like got the opportunity, left from there, and I'll go in more in depth in a different video. And I wouldn't say so much did not look back the way people often think, like when people move out of your home state, oh, you're gonna move somewhere else, you're gonna forget about us, whatever the case may be. Nah, like I really looked at it as in life, we have our own individual journeys and experiences. Like even when you get married, right? Like at the end of the day, the perspective that your spouse has going to the grocery store, if you're still at home, or their daily routine or whatever the case may be, is from their perspective and vantage point. You're together in life and covenant, but you still have your own individual experiences. And leaving my home state was me saying, hey, I want to expand the territories in which I have occupied and the experiences that I will have in my own life's journey. And continue to find a way through representation to impact those who do have a desire to be able to leave their hometown or leave their home state, but I'm gonna do so from here. I'm gonna do it over here though. Like I'm gonna be in my own space, somewhere that I really love and enjoy, and find happiness in. Joy bigger than happiness. Happiness temporal. Joy, you know, comes from the Lord. But I'm gonna find that here in this place. And guys, like I can't share with you how much my life has personally changed as a result of making the decision to move out of my hometown and home state. And even with, and here's the thing, once you've been enlightened to the point of going to a different place or whatever the case may be, check the camera, make sure it's still recording. Still new to this YouTube thing, heard the sound, my fault. But yeah, like once you've been enlightened or you've had that experience of moving to a different town or different state or new experiences, it's like you can't go back. Like and some people do for different reasons, whatever the case may be. But in my scenario, I remember going back while our home was getting built. So I actually went back to North Carolina for a couple of months while our home was getting built. And it was just like everything was different. Like the foods that I had eaten for a while, just kind of didn't have a taste for anymore. The conversations, the folks I was around, and my own personal experiences, just it was not the same. And what you'll find is that when you have, especially, I'm African American, right? Like, especially in the Black community, like you'll find when you've become educated, you've gone to school, you've maybe gone to a different country, which is a whole nother video, a whole nother conversation. But when you have started to have different life experiences that are outside of the space or the community in which you grew up in, it can feel alienating at times. It can feel like, man, like people are going to say that I changed. People are going to say, this, that, and the third about me, or I'm not going to feel like I know my roots, if you will. But I would tell you to check your roots, like kind of like these two fiddle fig trees that are beside me. Like, just because both of these trees are rooted in the pots that they're in doesn't mean that the roots that they're connected to are actually healthy. Like, check those roots in your own life, those that you're connected to, those that you have relationships with, and make sure that those are actually healthy things or healthy practices, healthy ideas, healthy thoughts that are conducive to the growth in which you want to go with your life. Like, that's so vitally important, because oftentimes we make the mistake of saying just because I'm grounded or I have a foundation in something that it is just the correct foundation. This is just how it's supposed to be. And I would vouch to say, from being a homeowner now and having friends who have older homes, whatever the case may be, foundations break sometimes. Like, foundations sometimes are not always as healthy as they should be. There's a required maintenance and change that goes into that thing from this metaphor standpoint of a home, but even in your life. Check what you were built upon, check what you're rooted in, and that is continuously pushing you towards the growth that you actually want to see in your life. So again, in my own life experiences in that case, and even my spouse who moved out of her hometown as well, it is something that significantly changes, like exponentially. There's actually a statistic, I'm gonna try to look it up. Siri, how much more do people make that move out of their hometown than those who stay? There's a statistic that's out there. I can't find it. Cannot find it. I'll leave it in the comment section below. A popular platform that I really listen a lot to called Alux. No sponsorship. It's a great platform. Alux.com. Actually had a statistic that they shared. I got to find where it is. Of people who stay in their hometown or their home state, how much they make, versus people who move out of their hometown, their home state, and how much they make. And it was significantly different. Like, people who moved out of their hometown or home state tend to make more than those who stay. So even from a financial, not just your outlook on life, not just from a standpoint of resources, opportunity, whatever the case may be, like, people tend to make more that move out of their hometown or home state. And I would say with that, one, in my case, in my life, it was definitely like job opportunities and the ability to grow and expand. But then also it puts a type of fire and motivation inside of you to say, hey, I'm in this new place. I don't know anybody here. Where I'm at maybe looks unfamiliar to me than what I've experienced before. So I got to get it. Like, I got to go after, I got to hit the pavement. I got to go to every networking event, whatever the case may be. And you'll weave it out, right? Like, once you find value in different relationships or not, or different people and networking events and stuff like that, you may not go out as much, but just being in the place and the energy where a lot of folks are new. I'm talking about metropolitan areas. I'm talking about your folks who are moving to your major cities, like maybe Tampa, maybe Miami, Florida, Houston, if you will, Dallas, Austin. People who are moving. I'm just thinking about Texas because I'm in Texas, the great country of Texas. People who tend to move to these experience something, especially coming from a small town, that's unlike anything that they've ever experienced before. So if you're someone who is saying, hey, like, I'm where I'm at, I'm where I grew up at, maybe in your early 20s, maybe in your later 30s, or just in the millennial range, whatever, and you're questioning like, hey, applied on LinkedIn, it worked out for me, whatever, applied, had this opportunity come up, and I was like, man, like I want to take advantage of it, but it may require me to work remote, but I'll be able to move out of my home state or move out of my hometown. I'm thinking about doing it. Hopefully this video provides some value for you and some others like it online to encourage you to maybe take that leap of faith if it's for you. Now, I'm huge on praying. I'm huge on prayer, but I'm also huge on action. Faith without works is what? Dead. So if things are aligning for you and God is truly opening up a door in your life for you to be able to experience something different, to be able to establish your family in a new place, whatever the case may be, I would certainly hope that this video can add some perspective to your life and making the right decision for you. Again, it has to be the right decision for you and your family, but I can definitely say in my experiences, it's been something that was astronomical for the trajectory, not only of myself, but for my spouse and for my future children. And we pray to come as well by being able to take that leap. So I guess the dog is done with me talking because she just came and hit the camera. If you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment below. If you've taken that leap and moved out of your hometown to your home state, love to hear a little bit about your story, how it was beneficial to you, how it was detrimental, if anything. We ain't got to get too dark or too deep, but definitely leave it in the comment section below. And super excited to continue building this platform with you guys and creating value, right? God bless.